All right, let's get practicing in QuickBooks Online. Grab the link below in the description so that you can follow along. All right, here we are in the QBO Gym. And the QBO Gym is a place where we have numerous exercises that simulate real life scenarios that you may encounter as a bookkeeper. Every single month, we come out with new exercises for you to practice and complete, and we break it down for you into 4 different sections. So today we are going to be working in the November strength training section where we really focus on customization. At the top here is a little animated video to give you a synopsis of what's going on in Craig's world that month. He is our fictitious business owner. Further down is an interactive quiz to test your knowledge. And then at the bottom are all of the exercises within this section. So today we are going to practice creating bank rules. You will need to be in the sample company. If you're not sure how to get into the sample company or get your own free QBOA account, go ahead and click on the link below in the description. Also, if you have been working in the sample company for previous exercises, make sure you are in a new session of the sample company for this exercise. So, our scenario today is now that you have been working with Craig for a while and have gotten very familiar with his expenses, you're starting to see some patterns. You decide to set up some bank rules or custom bank rules to automatically categorize some transactions to save you time each month. So, let's take a look at how to do this. Before we get started, let's take a look at how transactions appear in the bank feed. To do that, we need to first go in, click on bank transactions. Here I am in the sample company. This is the dashboard. Over on the left-hand side under bookmarks, you will see bank transactions. Click on that. So you will see when you have clicked on bank transactions. Oh, first of all, if you get any pop-ups, just go ahead and click that out. QBO is just trying to be a little bit of extra help and give you some more information about this area. When you have clicked on bank transaction, this is the page that will appear for you. So we're going to, the list of transactions that you see is the information that came from the bank and it's mingled with information using QBO logic. So going column by column, the date is the date of the bank fee transaction. That is this one right here. The description is a shortened version of the detailed information that the bank has about this transaction. When you click on the transaction, you can see the full bank detail. However, it's sometimes helpful to be able to see all the details in the grid, especially when you're setting up bank rules. So we'll go into that in a minute, and the description is right here. Next, we move on to the payee, and this is QBO's best guess from the information in the bank feed of who the payee should be. The payee is always a customer or vendor that exists in QBO. If the payee is blank, that means that QBO couldn't make an educated guess from the record. Next, we move on to category or match, and this is QBO's best guess. Using the date and the amount only, it will attempt to find an existing unmatched, unreconciled transaction or suggest a category based on past usage. So here's that payee, and here is that category or match. As you can see, it's found a match for some things, and then other things, it just says that it's uncategorized right now. Next, we move on to spent or received, and this is just the amounts that are in the bank fee transaction. And then some banks will send digital copies of cash checks. If the bank supports it and a check has been sent, there will be a link in the paperclip column. So here's spent and received. This is just money in or money out based off of what the kind of transaction is. And then that paperclip, if there is any kind of image from the bank, there would be something under that paperclip link. As mentioned above, description is a shortened version of what comes from the bank. So let's add the full description on to the grid, and it will make it a bit easier to know how to set up the bank rules. So to get started, we're going to click on the small gear icon above the action column and then click on show bank details. So that is over here on the right-hand side. Click on that and then show bank details is a little bit more towards the bottom. You may need to scroll down a little bit. Go ahead and click on that. And you'll notice that as soon as we clicked on that bank detail, was updated based off of what the bank has. Now, the description column, as I mentioned, automatically changes to bank detail, allowing you to see more information about what is coming from the bank. In the sample company, this looks relatively quote unquote clean. But in real life, this could be this could be full of sometimes unrecognizable characters, merchant phone numbers, and other details to help identify the transaction. So let's go ahead and set up our rules. So Ellis Equipment Rental used to be called A1 Rental, and that's how they still show up on the bank feed. We can make our job, or you can make your job, a bit easier by setting up a bank rule to add this name. And since they are always the same category, you can add that as well. Note that the bank detail sometimes includes the term backhoe. Since this is not always what Craig is renting, we'll want to make sure that the rule doesn't include this. So to get started, we're going to go ahead and click on Rules, which is up here on the top. And then you have a little bit of information here from QBO. You can always watch a video to see how it works. We're not going to do it for this exercise, but if you want to do it in real life, feel free to do it. Go ahead and click on the green Go to Rules button. And then we're going to click on New Rule. So that is the green button up here. Go ahead and click on that, and this little pop-up will appear for you. So let's go ahead and start filling it out. The name here for this rule, we're going to have it as A1 equals Ellis. So click into that box and go ahead and type that in, not plus, equals Ellis. There we go. A1 equals Ellis. This rule will apply to all money out transactions in all bank accounts. So we're going to leave that setting as is. That is this one right here. Next, we want to apply this rule to all transactions where the bank detail includes A1 rental. So clicking in the description and then select bank text, we're going to enter A1 rental. So click on this description and then click on bank text. And then we're going to, in the text, put A1 rental, is I believe what I just said. Yes, it is. Okay. Now we want to click on test rule to make sure that you have it set up correctly to catch transactions that are currently waiting to be processed. You'll notice here that you have to apply to 2 transactions. There are 3 transactions in the bank feed, but one of them is a money in, so you will have to set up a separate rule for this. So let's go ahead and click on test rule. And it says this rule will apply to 2 currently unreviewed transactions. It's great. So once you have found the transactions you want to apply the rule to, you need to decide what you want QBO to actually do with them. So we're going to complete the bottom portion of that bank rule form. We are going to assign a name and a category to the transactions, so I'll leave this as is. You could also choose to exclude transactions here. This is helpful if your bank tends to send transactions twice, such as like with a pre-authorization followed by the actual transaction itself. So we are going to leave that area as is. Our transaction type will be expense, so we're going to leave that as is right here. In the category field, we're going to select equipment rental. So category, click into it. You can actually start typing in the box equipment to get a shortened version, shorter list, search list there. Go ahead and click on this top one, this equipment rental expense. The payee field is going to be Ellis Equipment Rental. So click into that, and then you can start typing in Ellis. And there they are. Craig rents equipment for several customer jobs, so we're going to leave this blank. You will also not be using tags at this time. So these 2, we're just going to leave a blank right there. Now let's take a look at some additional options. To do that, click on the plus assign more. So that is right here. Here you have the option to enter text into the memo field of the transaction. You can also choose to keep the bank detail as the memo. This can be helpful. This sometimes can be helpful when searching later or trying to understand transactions. So we're going to check also keep existing bank memo. So that is this box right here. Go ahead and click on that. We also have the choice to automatically add the transaction rather than leave it to be processed from the bank feed. When choosing auto add, you must be certain that the conditions and assignments you have selected are going to be 100% accurate 100% of the time. Otherwise, you are going to end up with problems down the road. So, one option would be to turn off auto add now and then add it back later once you've had a chance to process several transactions and confirm the accuracy of the rule. So, we're going to click on the auto add slider to turn it off and then click save. That is down here on this bottom. You know it's currently on because the toggle is green. If you hit the toggle, it will slide and it now is gray. That means that it is off. So go ahead and click on the green save button. And that rule has been created for us. So Ellis Equipment Rental also charges a deposit, and that money is returned when Craig takes the equipment back. We can set up a rule to record putting the money back into the account. So we'll start with the rule we just set up. We're going to click on the arrow next to edit and then select copy. And this will just save us so much time doing it this way. So click on the arrow, click on copy. And now all the information from the previous one is on there. So we just need to make a couple of adjustments. For this one, we're going to change the name to A1 equals Ellis Deposit. So delete copy of, and then just add deposit to the name there. We're going to change this to apply to money in transactions. So click on the arrow here and then change this to money in. There we go. We are going to click on Assign More, which is down towards the bottom. So all this other information can stay as is. We are going to select plus Assign More so that we have this information up here for us. In the bank memo field, we are going to replace it by putting in deposit return. So bank memo right here, click into it and change that to deposit return. Deposit return. There we go. Also check also keep existing bank memo. There we go. So we have both of them. And then we're simply going to click save. You'll note that the auto add slider, which was not seen in this picture below, it should remain in the off position, which it is because again, it was copied from the previous rule. So that's what we want. All we need to do now is click on the green save button. And now we have both of those rules set up for us. So now let's go back to the transactions to see how these have been set up. So click on bank transactions to return to that list. And that's over here. Click on that tab. And when you look at the bank details, these three right here for the A1 rental, you can see that the rule has been applied for these, for the money in and for the money out ones. So it looks like the rules are all working correctly. So yay, congratulations, we did it correctly. So let's move on now to another one for Hicks Hardware. Craig makes a lot of purchases at Hicks Hardware, but if he spends less than $25, they are always going to be just sundry supplies. You never have to select a different category, split the transaction, or make them billable. So let's make a rule for ourselves so that we can save time in the future. In addition to using the rules screen that we just used, we can also add rules directly from a transaction in the bank feed. So let's see how to do that. First, we want to scroll down until we find the uncategorized Hicks hardware transaction. And then you're not going to click add, but you're going to actually click into it. So let's scroll down. So this one says one match found for Hicks hardware. That's not one we want. Keep scrolling until you find one. Here is up towards the bottom here. It says Hicks Hardware. We're going to click on this one because it says uncategorized expense. So click on it to expand it. And then you will see this little link here that says create a rule. Go ahead and click on that. And you will have the same pop-up that we had on the previous when we were setting up for A1 rental. Same exact screen that we have here. So let's go ahead and complete it. The rule name is going to be Hicks less than $25. So click into that box, Hicks less than $25. Because this was created from a transaction in the checking account, QBO assumes that we just want this rule to apply to all money out transactions in checking. You can always change this to all bank accounts if you want, but for now we're just going to leave this setting as is. And so that is what it is showing right here. Also, because we created the rule from the Hicks hardware transaction, QBO is already making a guess that we want to apply it to all transactions that have Hicks hardware in the description. Once again, we're going to leave this as is. That is right here. Now we need to add a condition here to say that this is only for transactions that are less than $25. So to do that, we're going to click on the plus add a condition. That is right here, the little blue wording link here. And when you do that, it gives you another, it basically copies this and puts it down here so that we can add another condition to it. In this new one, we're going to click on description and then select amount. So let's do that. Click on this description right here, click on amount. Automatically it goes to equals. So we're going to click on that and then change it to is less than. So click on that arrow, is less than. And then we need to put a value in here, which is 25. You only have to type in the 25, not the dollar sign. So go ahead and click into that, put 25 right there. And then we need to test this rule to confirm that one transaction will be affected. So test the rule. And now it is showing that it is currently showing that the rule is applied to the one currently unreviewed transaction. So let's complete the rest of the form itself. We are going to assign a name and a category to the transaction. So we're going to leave this one as is. Our transaction type is going to be expense. So we're going to leave that as is. And then in the category field, we're going to select supplies. So leave this top portion as is. The category field, go ahead and click into it. You can scroll until you find supplies, which is right here, not too far up above it. QBO has already filled in the correct payee, so we're going to leave that as is. And then for these transactions, because we know this correct category will always be correct, 100% of the time, 100% accuracy, we're going to turn on auto add. So let's go ahead and do that. Hicks hardware is good. This we're going to leave as is, and then we're going to slide this over. So now auto add is on. And then we simply just need to click on save. So that is the green button down here. And you will notice that when we did that, the transaction has already been added to the books. I was looking to see if it was still in here, but it is not. So it has been categorized and added to the Hicks hardware transaction. So we can go ahead and look in the categorized tab for it, which is right here. And when we do, we see that one that we just added that rule for, it has been categorized here properly for us. So QBO shows you just this particular transaction with, shows that this particular transaction was auto added due to the rule. You can always click on the rule name to see the details or change it if necessary. And although in the sample company, we only have one transaction on the list here, in a real life scenario, this tab would show all transactions that have ever been processed. If you are ever having trouble with transactions that were auto added, you can use the filter to select only those and investigate it further, which would be right here. You can choose to see if it has any rule or auto add rule, just to adjust it if necessary. That's it. That is how you would create bank rules. And if you have any questions or want to know more about the QBO Gym, just go ahead and click on the link below in the description. Be sure to leave this session of the sample company open, as you will need it for the next exercise in the strength training section where we customize the dashboard. And I will see you in the next video.